So let's get started with our webinar today, or I should say our challenge. We are on day one, and we're going to go through Friday, and we're going to do it a little bit differently this time. Going to be pretty much all education. No prizes, no free this, free that. It's going to be all about education. Now today, some of you might be a little bit disappointed, but we're going to cover uh, a lot of what 10-minute trades is. The heavy magnet info will start really tomorrow, but I do want to go over certain things about the magnet today because we have a mixture of about 50% people that know us, 50% people that don't know us. So when there's a lot of people that don't know us, I have to go through just explaining what 10-minute trades is all about and how we find our trades, all the routines. But just to make it so that it's valuable to all of our regulars, people that are using the magnet and really want this as a magnet masterclass, which that is my goal. This is going to be more than a challenge. It's also going to be a magnet masterclass. So the first thing I want to do today is, of course, welcome everybody and say thank you for giving me your time. I'm always amazed how many people sign up to these webinars, and it's really, it means a lot to me. The second thing to realize is, why should anybody even listen to what I have to say? So just briefly, understand, of course, that it is possible to lose money trading futures. Okay, that's one thing that can happen. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-minute trades. It is possible to lose money trading futures. What we do here, you can do in a prop account. All right, there are many prop companies that let you trade the news. All right, we trade news with breakouts and range trades, all sorts of setups. And the magnet trade, I believe, I cannot imagine there would be any prop account that would not allow magnet trades. They are trades that allow the market to come to you. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. And let's look at a magnet trade. So this morning, we had once again 3 winning trades in our trade room at the market open. And we've had tremendous success trading the market opens for the past many months, war or no war. And yes, there are trades we're taking that are very risky that we haven't really told our members that these are trades to take. We're experimenting, but that's part of what we do. We experiment intelligently as we can, and it gives our members a very good idea of what's going to be safe. I will happily take a hit to my prop account, and we pay for extra prop accounts so we can do some extra testing that we don't want our members to necessarily do. So it's important to understand there are the quote unquote real trades that we take that we would recommend, you trade with cash or with prop, and there are experimental trades, but our main goal, besides making money, our main goal is also giving you the tools so that you can design your own trades. One of our best market open trades is a member trade, and all we did was make a bigger stop. But our member, but look, let's be honest, we taught the member how to do this, and now that member is smarter than me and came up with a better trade than I could come up with on the RTY. I'm not embarrassed to have people smarter than me in our room. It's a community. We all share, and that is the way to become a profitable trader. I don't claim to know everything, but I do know a lot, and I know a lot about news trading. I know a lot about safety. I know a lot about risk. I know a lot about the markets, and we want to pass all of that knowledge on to you. So yes, you can do this in a prop account. Right now, Bullinox has a sale going on They're one of the companies we recommend for our members. Now, one of the things about Bullinox is you have to use their coupon code. So give me a second. Let me type this in for everyone. Bullinox, Bulenox.com is where you can go. Let me show you. And you can get a prop account right now for about, I think it's about $16 right now for an eval. And that's very, very reasonably priced. Okay. So first thing we'll do is let's post that to the website, so to your chat. So give me half a second. I probably should have had this done before I got here, but I didn't, so I'm sorry. All right, here is the Bullinox and the code if you want it. And let me post it all over the chat. And then use this coupon code PTF89 if you want. Pretty sure it's $15.75 for an account, for an eval account. Then you have to pass it, and once you pass it, then you can try to take money out of the account. So PTF89 is the code. Bullinox is great. They're very, very good about answering emails, taking care of problems. All right? You can do this in a prop account. 10-minute trades, we've been around for more than 9 years. We started as JoeBrackettBreakout.com. That's how come our software is called JOBB from the original company, Joe Brackett Breakout. Jay Offner is our owner. He invented the original software. Then a couple of years after I got here, we changed our name to thenewstraders.com. And eventually we went to 10-minute trades because it did make the most sense, everything that we do. Almost all of our trades are over in less than 2 minutes. Nowadays, it's changed a bit. With the magnet trade, you might be in a trade longer. And with the markets the way they are, we do spend more time in trades than we used to in the years past. We have a lot of different ways that we trade. But I digress. I started to say, let me show you what a magnet trade is. Let's get started by showing you some winning trades that we took in our trade room this week. And it's been a very good start to the week. Today, we had 3 winners at the open, and it was virtually instantaneous. So let me explain what we do. You can see that there's 3 charts here, okay? On the left, we're trading the MNQ. And you could trade the NQ. It doesn't have to be micros. In the middle, we're doing our YM magnet. Most mornings, when the opportunity is there, we will trade the YM magnet. Most of the time, I'm looking for a high of day, low of day scenario on the YM. And then on this morning's RTY, we trade a range trade. That's our main market open trade. On every chart, we're teaching our members now to put 3 setups. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not that big a deal. It's very easy to do. And throughout this challenge, I'm going to teach everybody how to use our software and how to install setups onto your chart. So we have 3 charts that I'm showing you. The MNQ on the left, we've got the YM in the middle, and we've got the RTY on the right. Now, especially with Magnet 2.0, I recommend that you put the magnet strategy on every chart. Why? For the same reason I recommend putting a reverse continue on every chart. When you have setups that are ready to go, especially in these volatile markets, you can take advantage of safe scalps. Or a market sometimes moves so fast, you can grab a magnet trade faster than you ever would have dreamed. If you don't have the setups on the chart, by the time you put setups on, it might take a minute to 3 minutes to put a setup on a chart, you could miss the opportunity. So if you have a reverse continue on every chart, you have the ability to take a safe scalp on a moment's notice. Same thing with the magnet. Understand about Magnet 2.0 and one of its biggest new features. Magnet 2.0 creates signals now. We have a full-blown, we have more than one signal creation system built into Magnet 2.0. We have maximum signals called ARS standalone, aftershock reversal signal, or aftershock. I haven't decided what to call ARS. It was originally aftershock reversal squeeze. Then it was aftershock reversal system. I kind of like that the best. Aftershock reversal system. We actually have two complete standalone systems that generate signals built into the software. And I'm going to explain how they differ. ARS standalone generates the most signals because they're relatively unfiltered. We do have filtering also built into the software. So that's multiple trading methodology in one strategy. So the magnet built in has ARS signals. That's what these arrows are on the chart. And it has the ability to trade and exit at the magnet. A magnet is an exit, okay? So I just decided how I'm going to make this education worthwhile for everyone all the way through all the classes. I'm going to go back and forth with a lot of magnet info and what we do to find trades interspersed within the whole webinar today. Just to make it so people that are here for magnet only will not feel like they're wasting their time. So Magnet 2.0 has a trading system, a signal system built in, and it has our normal magnet targeting. All right. Targeting is a key word. We expanded the control panel in Magnet 2.0. We've expanded the targeting. So what does that mean? Well, if you understand what a magnet is, let me show you the trade today. Middle chart, YM magnet. If you notice, there's a heavy green line and there's a heavy red line. The heavy lines are the order entry lines. They are adjustable. You can move them by just holding them down with the mouse and moving them. When we first invented the magnet software, the proximity command determined where the orders would be entered. And that was really unwieldy. And very quickly after we designed the software, we already started on the new version and made the order lines movable. You know, sometimes you're working on software, you're designing something, and the most obvious thought doesn't occur until miles later in the development of the product. That's what happened with the movable lines. It should have been day one, but I didn't think of it. And, you know, the key is, as long as we thought of it, that's what matters. So the magnet trade this morning, the idea was I was trading high of day, low of day. You can see HOD, LOD on the control panel. And the idea is when we get to the high of day, that's where we exit the trade. When we get to the low of day, that's where we exit the trade. We don't always know what direction we're going to wind up going. Very often the market open will change direction completely. And what we think might be a long magnet open turns into a short magnet profit. Watch what happened this morning. So we had our regular range RTY trade. We had our breakout MNQ, but we're watching the middle chart for our magnet. We're a couple of seconds before the market opened. The market is now open, and we're watching the YM. It goes through our level, puts us into the market, And then almost immediately, it's going to go through our two targets for a very nice winning magnet trade. The idea of the magnet is really simple. We are exiting where many traders put their orders. They're putting their stop orders at the magnet. A lot of traders are putting their entry orders at the magnet, at the high of the day, at the low of the day. So it's very important to realize why these levels are magnets are many reasons. You could say the levels we look at are magnets because many people look at those same levels and put lots of orders there. So those areas of price attract the price, okay? That's one valid reason why an area might become a magnet. Another area is just because of price action. You have ranges that an instrument goes through. So you could look at the average range an instrument might have for the day, and if it's 500 points for the YM, which probably is a little bit much, but you might look at the YM over the course of a month, and you might average, maybe 200, 300 points of movement each day. So a magnet is going to be a high of day because those areas are always tested. And then it could be anywhere from 200 to 300 points away from that. So levels that fall into those ranges can be magnets. VWAP levels are magnets. Lots and lots of people look at the VWAP. That area is constantly being tested. That area of price action is a magnet, the VWAP. Also, pivots are magnet levels. So we are always looking to exit at these levels. That's the idea. The magnet trade concept is very simple. We're waiting for price to come to our entry, and then we're exiting when it reaches the level that we call a magnet. Okay? Very simple. Once again, let me show you this trade in the middle because it's so easy to understand. Price moves up when the market opens through our order line, which puts us in the market. I was trading that in my new Lucid prop account. After about 10 seconds, the price continued up and it exploded through the magnet for a profit. 2 contracts on the YM. We made an instant 150. It was about a 5-second, 10-second trade. On the RTY range trade, we also had a 150 profit. It was even quicker. We have a 5-minute range, and last week I gave a webinar on our best setups in the morning. If you didn't take that webinar, you can go to YouTube and look it up. It's live on YouTube. Our orders were put on the charts after a 5-minute range was created. That's our range trade software. Our range trade is very easy to understand also, okay? On a range trade, when we choose the option range trade, and it's a separate strategy from the magnet, it's part of our news trader strategy. Our software is 3 different strategies. In those 3 strategies are a variety of different setups. Our range trade setup is part of our news trader strategy. The top line is the long entry. The bottom line is the short entry. The middle 2 lines are the range being created. When the time ends, this particular range we define as a 5-minute range. When 5 minutes ends, the orders get put on the chart according to a couple of other inputs that we have. And one of the important inputs is how many ticks above the range do you want your orders to go long? How many ticks do you want to go short? It happened to be 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below. It was an instant winner this morning. It just pops up, bursts through. We probably could increase the size of our targets on our RTY trade these days because the markets are really moving. But that was a very, very nice winner. And then our MNQ trade, is a traditional breakout trade. It's one of our favorite trades. It's one of the hardest trades in these kinds of markets. But a breakout trade is defined by an orange arrow shows up on the chart, and that chart shows current price. Okay? That arrow is current price. Our breakout trade says X ticks above the current price, put a long order. X ticks below the current price, put a short order. That number of ticks is the same above and below. It's 35 ticks on our market open for the MNQ. And watch what happens. The market opens, shoots through both of our orders. We're out of the trade. It shoots through the 35 ticks and it goes another 130 ticks, even more, because our targets are 30 ticks for target 1. Sometimes we use 40. And our target 2 is 100 ticks. So the market went 130 ticks plus the bracket. It went over 165 ticks in one direction this morning for a very nice profit on the MNQ. 3 winners, 1 magnet, 1 breakout, 1 range trade. In the challenge this week, what you're going through right now, we're going to teach you how to set up all of those trades. We use them all, but being very, very transparent, the worst trades in these markets are breakout trades. And it's so hard for me to say that because breakouts are the DNA of 10-minute trades. I should say they used to be. I would say the magnet trade is becoming our DNA as well. We take probably more magnet trades these days than we take breakouts, although we take a lot of both. But the point is, the other thing you want to realize about breakout trades, in very volatile and fast markets, and with prop data feeds, sometimes you can get frozen orders. And breakout trades are much more prone to orders freezing than any other type of trade. Also, breakout trades are prone to news not being allowed. That's a kind of a setup that some companies don't allow you to trade in a prop account. So you want to keep the amount of your breakouts minimal if you're using prop trading. And over the years, we've come up with many alternatives to the breakout. And that's why we can comfortably trade with prop. Many of our members are getting payouts, and they do intersperse some breakouts in their trading. But the key is consistency, consistent winners, consistent losers, because they even have rules. If you lose too much, they have rules that don't allow that. So you want to try to be as consistent as possible in your trading, particularly if you're looking to trade prop trading. A couple of questions. When I say signal, does that mean it will execute trades? James, it's not an automated signal. While magnet trades can be completely automatic, right now our signal system is discretionary. Look, I'm like everybody else out there. I know there are hundreds of robots, hundreds of AI signal generators that are fully automatic. And I know what they all claim. I know they all claim constant winners, 90%. It's a lot of BS. Show me a signal system automated that works over and over and over without user intervention. I think you'd be hard pressed to really show one. We made the magnets. I could design our software so that our signals trigger instantly. Currently, our signal generation is discretionary. When you get a signal, you look at it and you make a decision whether or not you want to trade, and in a couple of seconds, you can decide. Most cases, plenty of time is available with signals. And I'll show you why. I'll show you what I mean. So when I say that we have signals in our system, let me exit this video. I'm going to exit my slides for a minute. And I just happened to be watching the charts before I got to this webinar this morning. and a couple of interesting signals that showed up. Notice on the RTY. The RTY was generating VWAP. So we have two types of signals currently that we generate because I feel they are the most important levels that also work the best for magnets. I love the VWAP and I love high of day, low of day. So it goes to pass that those would be the signals I wanted our software to generate. High of day signals and low of day signals. The concept with our signal is that it generates in the opposite direction of what the market was doing. So the idea is if we're taking a long magnet, we're looking for a short signal, all right? We're never looking for a signal in the same direction unless you're using the ARS system, which generates signal after signal after signal with much less filtering than our other setups, okay? So if you notice, look what happened here this morning. And I'll also show you the MNQ. I missed some amazing signals in the trade room this morning. And before the webinar, there was some awesome signals. So there was some news right before the webinar. You know, there's been nonstop news, nonstop, because of this war. And the markets dropped quite a bit at about 11:15. You could see it. And they made a new low on the MNQ. When we make a new low, after the price gets exhausted, that's when we're looking for signals. So we're looking for the squeeze to change momentum color. We're looking for the candles to change color. Any tool that you use to help you to read trend can also be added to the magnet. If there's a special indicator that you love that helps you to read trend, go ahead, add that to your charts. It can only help you to be able to choose the best signals that are there. You could trade every signal, but every signal isn't a winner. That's just because there are certain rules of engagement with signals. I'm looking for new highs and lows, also with signals very often, not always, but often, sometimes that first signal will be a distraction. It might not be the best signal. Today it happened to be great at that 11 o'clock hour, but it also was supported by very nice structure in the squeeze momentum bars and just very clean candles also. It was a great signal, and you could see that it was, I don't even have to measure, you know, it's hundreds of ticks of possible profit were available here. 400 ticks on that long signal, and then on the short signal, and I'm measuring, I always measure from the worst possible entry just to be as transparent as possible. 289 possible ticks on that signal. And that's not even the original signals I wanted to show you. There was some earlier signals. I think, let me see if my memory is right. I was watching, we missed a signal after the market opens. There's very often very good signals. This was 9:25 in the morning. I would ignore that signal because it's too close to the market open. So that would have been a signal we would not take. It happened to be very good, but I would not take it. It was an early precursor to the market open signal. I don't think they were necessarily related. So precursor is not the right word. It was just an early signal that happened to be in the same direction of the signal after the market opened. But it was a very good signal. It's a VWAP signal. It's a signal that is based on the VWAP being tested. If the market goes down to the VWAP, then we're going to get a reversal signal to the upside. If the market goes up to the VWAP, then we may get a signal to the downside. And when you're looking at VWAP signals, you could get a quick up and a quick down if you're chopping around the VWAP. So you don't want to just jump into every signal like a crazy person. You want to think about trend of the market, the time of day. There's a lot of reasons why one signal might be better than another. If I remember correctly, there were a lot of very strong signals this morning. At 8:30, there was an excellent, it might have been the YM, but just looking quickly at the MNQ, I think it was the YM where we had a phenomenal signal. Let me just throw it on real quick. So YM, which is our magnet in the morning, I think at 8:35, if my memory serves me well, we had, yeah, there it is. Well, no, that was our 11:20, and then our, I'm pretty sure 8:35. There was a great, there it is. Right here, it was right before 8:35, way before the market opened. We had just gotten into the room, and that was a really, really strong YM signal, created by a test of the low, right? Market hit the low, and then it bounced off the low. 181 ticks up to there. Did it keep going? No. So then it no, look at that. It went from high to low. That's pretty amazing when that happens. Market went from high to low. Very, very fascinating. And then you could see also we had some very, very nice gold signals. So these signals are created by changes in momentum. And you can see it very clearly. We tested the VWAP with gold. Right here, we went up to the VWAP, but we went down to it first, okay? And our squeeze was generating downward momentum. We hit the VWAP, went through it, momentum changed, price direction changed, and then it generated a very good long signal. And then it happened again. This signal was not as good. In fact, could have been a loser. What we recommend on signals is, again, you don't take every single signal. Now, right here, you're exactly at lunchtime. I don't like to trade lunchtime signals at noon. I like the market to come out of lunch. Nevertheless, a signal is a signal. You look at it, make a decision, and that will help you determine whether or not you have a great trade or not. Right now, we just got a VWAP signal, so let's keep an eye on it while we're in the webinar. That was a short signal. Where would I put my stop? I would put my stop roughly 10, 15 ticks above the VWAP. So my stop, I would put somewhere in here. Why? Why would I not just put it right on the VWAP? Because all the newbies, they're going to put their orders right on the VWAP, or one tick above it, one tick below it. They're not going to use a little bit of extra space to keep themselves safe. We use a little bit bigger stops. Those little bit bigger stops will keep you safer, okay? So another thing I want to do for everybody here, there's a brand new version of the magnet on the website, and also I can give it to everybody here, the location. The current version is 20. I can tell you this, that within a day or two we're going to have version 21, because I'm working with the program, always working on new features, always working on making signals better and better all the time. And I know I'm waiting for an update, a very important signal update, and I expect it later today. I would still update. Why would I update? Because it's so easy to change the software. It takes 1 second, takes a minute. So I'm going to show everybody how to install the software right now, because again, it's really, really easy to do. So I'm going to get rid of my setups. All right, going to get rid of my setups. I'm just highlighting them all and removing them all. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to remove my current software. Remove NinjaScript Assembly. And it's going to open a dialog that's going to say Magnet. And it takes a second. I'm going to highlight Magnet and remove it. Say yes. Takes a second or two. I'm going to close it. Removed. Close it. Now, I'm going to give everybody the new location. All right, so we have a new version 20. I'm going to post it into the chat. All right, everybody, if you're a Magnet subscriber, you can download it. Even if you're not a subscriber, you can download it, but it won't work because you're not enabled. Okay, so there's the file. Let me show you what it looks like when you click a Google Drive file. People get very confused. All right. Don't worry about all this stuff in the middle. It doesn't mean anything. You're just going to click the little download button. And after you click it, you're going to get this message. It's going to show you the file. The only thing you have to know is where on your computer the file goes when you download it. Okay? Files go on your computer to the last place you saved a file. So if the last place you saved a file was on your desktop, then downloaded files are going to show up on your desktop. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to go back to Tools, Import, NinjaScript Add-on. It's going to open a dialog. Find the file that you just downloaded. Double click it. Click OK. And now successfully imported all scripts. Okay. Now reboot your NinjaTrader. But however, don't forget, folks, please back up your NinjaTrader before you start uninstalling and installing things. It's a very good idea to do a backup of your NinjaTrader. So let me just reinstall my Ninja. After you install a strategy, you must reboot the platform. You have to. There's no option, or it will not use the software, the new version. So you have to reboot your Ninja. All right? So I'm reloading my Ninja. It takes about 20 seconds. The whole installation process takes about a minute if you understand how to do it. It's very easy. So now my Ninja is reinstalled. How do I call up the strategy? Right-click a blank chart, right-click a chart, click the word strategy, and you'll see Magnet 2.0. All right? But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. That's fine. Back up your NinjaTrader before you do anything. Every week, you should back up your NinjaTrader once a week. Go to Connections and disconnect all your live connections. Then you're going to go to New. You're going to go to Tools. You're going to go Export, Backup File, Tools, Export, Backup File. Check off everything you're going to back up. Everything should be checked. In my opinion, the only option would be Market Replay. If you have, like I have, dozens and dozens of Market Replay data files, it takes much longer to back up. But if you're like most people, they don't have a lot of Market Replay backed up, you could check everything, and the backup only takes a minute or two. But even if it takes 10 minutes, get into the habit of backing up at least once a week, and especially if you're installing new software, something you've never dealt with before, do a backup. So if things get screwed up, you can just reinstall your backup without needing tech support help from NinjaTrader or from any other company that you have to wait for their support. If you have a backup, you have more power on your own. So then you export your backup file, the finished process, and it will give you a dialog. Give it a name, save it in your download folder so you know where it is. Click download, save it, and now you got your backup. You're all set, ready to go. All right? Very important. Do your backups so that you don't get stuck in a problem. You can solve the problem on your own when you do your backups. Okay? So that's important. So now, reconnect your connections, connect your cash account first if you have cash, then you can connect your various prop accounts, and you can have, depending on the type of NinjaTrader account that you have, you might be able to trade multiple accounts at once. It all depends on the type of accounts that you have. All right? But our account, we can trade multiple accounts, and I can trade prop, cash, sim, all at the same time. It's important to understand that you can trade multiple setups on one chart, okay? Multiple setups on one chart. What does that mean? Okay, what does that mean? It means I can have a reverse continue. Remember what I said at the beginning of all this? That you can have more than one setup on a chart? Well, you can have more than one setup on a chart. I can have a magnet set up on a chart. I can have a reversal continuation set up on a chart. And I can have a breakout set up on a chart. So the first thing we do when we come into our trade room, and I'm going pretty advanced here. I'm assuming most of you are already installed trading with NinjaTrader. We have about 100 webinars where the first class in every webinar takes you step by step on how to get started with NinjaTrader. I didn't want to spend an hour doing that today, but I do want to briefly go through what we do at 10-minute trades. But before I do it, let me just show you what I mean about putting on multiple setups on one chart. So here we have a blank chart, right? A blank chart. But let's backtrack for one more second. Let's assume you're brand new to the magnet strategy, all right? And you just downloaded and installed the software. Now, what you want to do is get your charts looking like mine. Normally, I would say make your charts look the way you want them to look, but I believe when it comes to the magnet trade, you should make your charts simple and easy to read with not a lot of fluff or extra things on the chart. At least make one chart that you trade on look a lot like ours, especially in the beginning while you're learning how to use the magnet software. So let me go back to my slides for a second because I want to show you something, a couple of things that matter. So let me go through a couple of things. First off, we trade using the NinjaTrader platform and we trade futures. We're a NinjaTrader partner, and that means we're subject to certain rules and regulations about being honest, all right? And we're very transparent. We have a system. Our system has 4 elements: the weekly schedule, daily trade reports, trade room access, and our software. Our software is 3 strategies. The News Trader strategy, version 11, all right? Multiple setups. You can automate your entries, semi-automate your entries, targets and stops. It's also an automated trade manager. You can trail stops. You can put the stop in a certain location if a target gets hit. All of these things mean it's an ATM trade manager. Our trade room is our other element, one of the four. It's a fantastic community where people teach each other, help each other. It's fantastic to be a member of our trading community. We trade on a schedule and we have a weekly schedule, so we know in advance every week what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it. All right, this was this week's schedule. It's very simple. This week was pretty quiet. We had market opens. We're going to have market opens all week. Friday, we've got University of Michigan. Tomorrow, we have natural gas and unemployment. We know the time of day we're going to be in our trade room. And very often, we will hang around for an extra half hour or sometimes longer looking for opportunities. And we will find opportunities, especially now with the new signal system. So 3 strategies that make up our software: the news trader strategy, the magnet trade strategy, and the trap trade strategy. They're all custom add-ons to NinjaTrader. They install inside of NinjaTrader. All right. I've explained hundreds of times why trades trigger. So I'm going to make it simple and quick. Trades trigger because news comes out that's not expected. The news result that's not expected causes a move in the market that you're looking to trade. So you might have a GDP report where GDP is higher than expected. That moves the market. You might have an earnings trade that comes out. It's worse than expected. That moves the future that we're trading. We trade futures on everything we do. We invented a way to trade futures on earnings, and we teach you all about that. And then we trade market opens, and we do have some market close trades. Those events move the markets, and there are hundreds of these events. We find the economic events on the various free calendars that are out there. We use Forex Factory, investing.com, tradingeconomics.com. Just to go again, I'm not going to do this long, a lot of hours or an hour on what we are. There are many webinars that go into depth on everything I'm covering right now. But I want to do more magnet today than I originally was going to do because there's a lot of people here. So, but we do find all of our setups, almost all of our, not I say almost all, because some of our setups are just based around current news. Sometimes there might be a tweet. Sometimes there might be a Fed announcement. Sometimes there might be someone being interviewed. All of those things also create opportunities. And we have different ways that we can trade that allow us to take advantage of these opportunities. But our main schedule is initially created around these economic events that we find on the various calendars. So learn to look at the calendars. Forexfactory.com, investing.com, tradingeconomics.com, and then there are other calendars we use for a different purpose. We use, for instance, earningswhispers.com. Earningswhispers.com is a great calendar if you're going to trade earnings with us, or if you just want to learn about earnings and the schedules when the companies are releasing their earnings. Earningswhispers.com is a great website for trading earnings. And then finally, the fourth website that we love, financialjuice.com. Financial Juice, it really is very, very important to us. And it should be important to you. Financial Juice has the day's schedule on the left, okay? Now, their pro version is not free. So it is important to understand that you have to pay sometimes to play the game, right? They have in their pro version a squawk box, talking news. It's one of the most valuable features that they offer, and it allows you to trade and hear the news while you're trading. Or you could make sure when you're in a trade, if something goes on that might make you want to get out of a trade, you might hear that in your headset or hear it over your speakers, and that might help you to manage your trade. So we love Financial Juice, Financial Juice Pro, excellent product. Many of the products that we use are free, but there are a few products that we pay for that we highly recommend. We also use Thinkorswim. Most people don't realize it, but for $50 you can open a Thinkorswim account and you can watch stock earnings before and after the market opens and closes just by keeping $50 in your Thinkorswim account. That is a vital part of what we do when we trade earnings. Let me just show you an example of what our charts look like when we trade earnings. We have a lot of different charts open. We have a news chart that opens from Thinkorswim. It shows us the exact second, almost always, that the earnings get released. So we know for sure that we're actually looking at an earnings release, because sometimes earnings are not released when the companies say they're going to. So we look at Thinkorswim charts, we look at their little news widget, and we also look at TradingView Free. They show chart movement. And like I said, we invented a way to trade futures on earnings trades. This was a Home Depot trade. Home Depot has been a great earnings trade for us. It's a breakout. Remember, a breakout. We put our orders above the current price. We put our orders below the current price. The earnings come out. We get pulled into the market when the earnings move the instrument that we're trading. On Home Depot, we're trading the YM futures. Here come the earnings. Big explosion in the price of the YM. It hits my first target and then blasts through up to the second target, almost gets there, allows us to trail, and then you manage your way out of the trade if it doesn't hit your second target. But we invented trading futures with earnings. It's a great way to trade earnings, and we have really, really good setups on specific companies that are very reliable. And we're trying to present more and more often, sometimes the less you trade, the more money you make. This year, we've actually looked at some earnings that we're not going to trade anymore because they just haven't behaved as well as we thought they would, and we're just not going to do those really mediocre earnings trades anymore, or even breakout trades that are, economic reports that aren't behaving well. We would rather look at more magnet opportunities, which are very reliable, than trade a lousy breakout. But that's all part of being a member. When you're a member, you're vetting these events with us. We're often testing events in the room while we're waiting for other things to happen. Now, one of the members here was asking a question: how do you get the magnet to show the signals? Signals will generate, but you have to have the magnet strategy enabled. So what do I mean? Signals will generate two ways. First of all, you have to put a magnet strategy on the chart. So remember, we were talking first about downloading the software and getting your charts to look like ours. So we thought it was so important to get the charts to look like ours that we designed a template that we include whenever somebody becomes a magnet software user. And here's how it works. So we have a template, and that template gets put in a certain folder so that when you right-click on a chart, let's say you just became a magnet trader, all right? And you're going to create a chart to trade with us. Now, I've taught over and over. We have a file that teaches you how to set up your chart to look just like mine. it is important to know what indicators we're looking at. We're looking at pivots. We're looking at the VWAP. We're looking at high of day, low of day, previous market open, R1 and R3. So you need to know how to get those items, those pivots, those levels on your chart. You need to know how to get our squeeze, our special squeeze on your chart. We also look at volume. Everybody, the volume you look at doesn't have to be our volume, but our chart template allows you to take a brand new chart. All right, so let's assume you did all the things we've asked you to do and you've downloaded our template. When you become a Magnet user, you download the file that I gave you, right? You download our template, and then you put that template in the NinjaTrader template area in their charts. Okay, so where do you put it? So you're going to click your PC, right? You're going to click Documents. You're going to click NinjaTrader 8. You're going to click Templates. And you're going to click Chart. Inside that chart area, you're going to paste our template. It's called Magnet 2.0. All right, do I need to do that again? You're going to back up. You're going to click your PC, My PC. Click your document folder. Click NinjaTrader 8. Right? You're going to click Templates. You're going to click Chart. And then you're going to paste our template into that folder. Then, when you create a new chart for creating your Magnet workspace, right? New chart. This is very easy. Let's say you're going to choose the YM, all right? The YM. Whatever's up there, there usually will be 6 choices up there. The YM. The only thing that I change in the default setting is days to load. I make it 3, and it doesn't matter if you don't even change it, all right? I make it 3. Trading hours must be on use instrument settings. Always check that. It is the default. Make sure it's on use instrument settings. And then you can just OK your new chart. NinjaTrader gives you a brand new chart. Okay? It's a blank chart with nothing going. You might want to put up top here, you might want to put on the chart your chart trader. Turn it on. All right, there's my chart trader. A couple other things I do quickly. Clicking right mouse on the chart trader. Properties. P&L display unit. I like to see the money. Not everybody does. I use currency. And then show realized profit and loss P&L when flat. I like that on. Apply it. Okay it. But now I need to install all those indicators. It's going to take 15 minutes to get your chart set up, but not anymore because you've got the template. Right-click your chart, click Template, Load, Magnet 2.0. Now, all I have to do is shrink things down, tighten them up, all right? Tighten it up, shrink my indicators so they're not taking quite as much space, and bingo, everybody. My chart is set up 10-minute trades, brand new chart. What did that take me? 5 seconds to have a chart set up in NinjaTrader? I think I just closed my chart by accident, but that's okay. Let me open it. You'll just have to trust me. The chart is there, and it looks exactly like mine. All right? Here's the chart. Exactly like mine. How long did that take? 3 seconds, less than a minute, okay? That's the beauty of the template. Now, there are a couple of catches that you want to be aware of that are important. Right-click the chart, click on Data Series, and just double-check that you're not loading 100 days of data and that your trading hours says Use Instrument Settings. And I show that all the time, okay? All the time. Use Instrument Settings is critical, all right? Use Instrument Settings is critical. It's the default setting, and it calculates all the pivots, all the levels, high of day, low of day. So when you take a trade, that's what determines the price level. And it's based on the previous market open, all right? The template does not include the software. Willie, it can't, because people that haven't paid us, we might still let them have our template, but we would not let them have our software. You know what I'm saying, Willie? The software you still have to download separately. Roz is asking, she's not seeing her pivots. Roz, check your color. Right-click the chart, click indicator, highlight your pivots. Make sure the color of your pivots is working and different from the background on your chart. I cannot imagine why your pivots wouldn't show up. Make sure that they show up under configured, okay? Make sure they show up under configured. Under configured, all the items that we install onto our charts are now pre-installed. Order flow VWAP, if you're a Lifetime Ninja Trader user. If you're not a Lifetime Ninja Trader user, you need to choose a different VWAP from inside the magnet. And I'll show you what I mean by that, okay? There is a VWAP that you choose from inside the magnet software. All right? Any questions about the template? The template, very easy to install. You just have to make sure you put it in the right place, okay? Now, I'm not going to keep this chart because I have the exact same chart that I use every day. So I don't need this chart, okay? This chart is the exact same chart with the template on it. Now, I was answering a question that had to do with how come I don't see any signals? Well, you got to install, you got to put the magnet strategy, you got to put the strategy on. So this is why I recommend on every chart that you use, have a magnet strategy running. There's no reason not to. It doesn't use a lot of resources, okay? Our indicators are not like heavy duty, 500 days of data needing to load to use the indicator. You follow me? These are pretty low resource indicators. We're interested in trend, okay? That's our big thing, trend. Our system really is a trend-based system. So, but where's our signals? How come the signals don't work? The other thing, just to backtrack for a second, I'm always backtracking, the clock. Can't live without Topmost Clock. We give all our members Topmost Clock for free. I'm going to give it to you right now. Give me half a second. Topmost Clock is an awesome, awesome tool. Everybody should have it. There's no reason not to load it. And I'll show you what you can do to make it so easy. So here's the link to Topmost Clock. If you don't already have it, you should have it because it's a phenomenal product. And it is free. So download Topmost Clock, and again, it's a Google Drive file. People get very confused about Google Drive files. They get all worried because they can't figure out what to do with them. just click the little down arrow, and that downloads Topmost Clock. All right? You'll get the message that a file downloaded. Trust me, it really will show up on your screen. You'll get a message that a file downloaded. It might do this. It might say Google Drive can't scan for virus. It downloaded anyway. You can always scan the file after you download it. You're not installing it yet. You're just saving it, okay? Save it. Make sure you know where it is. Scan it with your virus checker to be safe. Scan it with your virus checker. I mean, we've scanned it. It's not a virus, but you can scan it. Then double-click Topmost EXE, and it'll install. And what it will do is it'll put a giant clock on your screen. It'll kind of look like this. And it'll be on one of your monitors. All right? If you have multiple monitors, all of a sudden, after you install it, you'll have this giant clock. If you want to move the clock, hold your left mouse button and put it dead center in the clock. If you want to change the size, dead center in the clock, right mouse button. Go to size, make it tiny. Tiny is perfect for NinjaTrader charts. If you want to move it, left mouse button, dead center. The only other thing you have to configure, right mouse button, hold it, click it. You could do color, digital clock, show seconds, what you want to do, analog clock, choose 3 different types of clocks, all right? Very simple. Close it. Now here's the best part. Once you close it, how do you get it back? If you install any app, and this is most apps that you install with Windows, if you go to the search bar, type in the name of the app. So we're going to type in Topmost. All you have to type is top, and then you'll see you get the app at the top. Right-click it. One of the choices will be Pin to Taskbar. If you don't have it already pinned to your taskbar, pin it to your taskbar. Now, to call it up, to turn it on, click the clock. Bingo. There's my Topmost clock. To close it, dead center with the cursor, right-click, close. It's a beautiful thing, Topmost clock, all right? Everybody has it. I just sent it to you all. It's a fantastic tool. The only negative, it only allows 1 clock. So I have another Windows clock that's called Clocks A. It's in the Windows Store, and it allows me to put another clock on my charts should I want to have multiple clocks. So you just go to the Windows Store and look for clock desktop. It's called Desktop Clock Plus 7. And now, bingo, I have multiple clocks. And it's also cursor, dead center, and it works. Okay? So that's a free feature for everybody that came to the webinar. You can have our clock. It's not my clock. It's a free clock, and it's great. All right, we were talking about how do you get signals for the magnet. So I believe now that everybody is trading 2.0, Magnet 2.0, right? Every chart that you trade on should have Magnet 2.0. If you're interested, if you're going to trade magnets, if you're going to trade signals with us, if you're going to trade with us, every chart should have Magnet 2.0 and possibly reverse continue. So let's start with the easy. Let me explain how our software works, right? When you install the software, you just saw me install Magnet 2.0. So you're going to do it 3 times. The second time, you're going to install NewsTrader version 11. And the third time, you're going to install our trap trade. Why? Well, don't you want to trade the trap trade like we did this week? when we traded, what did we trade this week? It was like a $550 trap trade winner. I thought that I had the video right here. Let me see if I can find it. Give me half a second. Well, I happen to have existing homes handy. So I'll show you that instead because it's handy. Existing homes is a trap trade. All right. I'm going to get rid of the clock. So a trap trade is a specialized reversal trade. As you know, news often reverses, right? We're still news traders. We're trading magnets, but we're using the news to trigger most all of our trades. Maybe not every trade, but most everything we do is triggered by news, right? So our trap trade, we're putting 2 orders above the current price, orange arrow, right? 2 orders below the current price, and when the news comes out, if the market goes up, we sell. If the market goes down, we buy. And when it reverses, we make our profit. How do we know it's going to reverse? Because we study these markets. We study these events. How do we pick trades? Let me go to our slideshow for a second. How do we pick trades? We backtest all of the events that I showed you on Forex Factory, on investing.com. Remember, what did I show you, right? I showed you Forex Factory. I showed you go to forexfactory.com, click the word calendar. All of these events we have vetted over the years. We know which ones are going to move the markets. We know which ones are more likely to reverse in a specific tradable way. Those are trap trades, the ones that we know that are going to reverse in a predictable way. So we set up a trap trade on existing homes. The news is going to come out and watch what happens. Left chart, trading gold. Price explodes up and we're now in the market long because it went through one of our orders. Now, it's already reversed and I've got $150 of profit. As it keeps reversing, I'm now like $500-600 in profit. $700 profit. All right? We want to teach you how to do this. Besides magnets, we have other setups in our software. All right? Now, I didn't forget about magnet signals, but I said I wanted to do this webinar a little bit differently. I wanted to integrate our old information with our new, and that's what I'm doing, okay? So we do these trap trades on events that we vetted that we are very comfortable are going to reverse in a tradable manner. That's the key. We need it to be tradable. We don't want it to go in one direction. If a trade moves in one direction over and over and over at the news and keeps going in that one direction, that's not a trap trade candidate. Trap trade candidates are the ones that change direction a lot, maybe even multiple times during one news event. That's why the reports work. The reports work with our software because they pull us into the market and then they either go in one direction for a breakout trade or a range trade, or they do a lot of chopping and reversing for trap trades and reverse continuations. Our software, when you right-click the chart and click the word strategy, when you install the 3 strategies, you now have 3 choices: trap trade, magnet strategy 2.0, news trader. That's News Trader version 11. When you click News Trader, it opens up the adjustment window or the inputs. Don't get afraid. All the inputs don't get changed. Only the main important ones get changed. And of course, we show you which ones they are. And it's not all of them, it's very few of them. There's no reason to panic. If you want to trade a breakout trade, NewsTrader has three main setups that we use over and over and over during the week. The breakout trade, the range trade, and reverse continues. Remember, I showed you the RTY range trade this morning. We took this morning. We created a 5-minute range. Price went through the range. We hit our targets. We made some money. That's the range trade. The breakout trade, I've shown you a million breakout trades. Jobs reports. A breakout is an explosion above and below the price. This was the recent NFP. We have setups that we send our members, our daily trade reports. Many of our events have setups that we send to our members the day before. That's an explosion. That's a breakout trade. The ES was a fantastic winner on the last jobs report. Gold was a huge winner. That was a breakout for all where every instrument had a breakout trade. Once again, we want to teach you all of these systems, not just magnets. Yes, this is a magnet challenge because we're going to focus on all the new features in Magnet 2.0. But we want to teach you everything, all the setups. These setups are easy to do. As part of the NewsTrader strategy, we have the reversal continuation. We come into our trade room, and the first thing I invariably say to everybody after hello is, hey, put your reversal continuation on every one of your charts. And then we go through it, and I show them how to do it. We right-click the chart, click the word strategy, double-click the word NewsTrader, change the trade type to reverse continue. All you need for a reverse continuation trade is one position and tell it how many contracts you're trading. 2, a target, 50 ticks, all right, and a stop, 50 tick stop. Now, I'm on a micro gold chart. That's fine. I'm going to scroll all the way down. There's a line that our software puts on the chart that we don't always want to see. I uncheck it so it doesn't put it on. Uncheck the vertical line. Choose the account that you're trading. If I'm trading in one of my prop accounts, I just choose it. If I'm on Sim, I'll leave it on Sim right now. That's on the account I'm trading on. I label every trade. Every trade gets a label. Why? This is very important because we have multiple setups on every chart. What are we doing? Every chart gets a magnet now. Every chart gets a reverse continue. I didn't forget how to show magnet signals, James. It's all leading to the place. So choose your account, label the trade. So this is a reverse continue micro gold, MGC, reverse continue. Every trade must be labeled. Why? Apply it, okay it. Now my trade, my strategy, shows up on the NinjaTrader control panel. Make sure that your tab is set to strategy so you see the strategy. You might be looking at your positions. You might be looking at your accounts. Okay? I didn't make money on every account this morning. All right? But for our purposes here, we're looking at strategies. All right? We know our strategy has a name. It's the micro gold reverse continue. Make sure you can see it. You can change the width of your line by just holding the left mouse button. All right? And the other thing you want to see is the account and the enabled button. When you turn on the strategy, you click the box and a couple of things happen. You get an instant long and an instant short button. That's your trade entry. That's your discretionary entry. So if I'm watching the market and I think this market's going long, I can just press the instant long button And as long as I'm on sim, I'm on the right chart trader, I'll see the trade, I'll see the orders, and I'll be ready to manage my trade if it doesn't hit my target immediately. I'm profitable because it is going long. All right, that's a scalp, but it's a safe scalp. It's got a stop, it's got a target, I can adjust them, I can make my stop tighter, I could spread the chart. Our strategy helps you to scalp safely. All right, I just made $3. Now, I'm just, randomly doing this right now, but what's important, the reverse continue, as long as it's checked. I have those buttons available to me that let me put on the chart a safe scalp. Now, it's not always a scalp. You might want to stay in the trade for an hour, but it's a reverse or continue, because you could do an instant reversal. If the market's moving up, you could press the short button, or you can go long with the long button. It's very, very simple, but it does have a lot of features built into the trade. If I right-click the chart, turn off the strategy by unchecking it, and right-click the chart, highlight the reverse continue, there are other features I can use. I can trade up to 3 positions. So I can have as many contracts as my account will allow, and I can have 3 positions. So that means you can have 3 targets. I can also automatically cancel a trade if I wanted to. And that would not be a discretionary trade though, right? So that was kind of silly to bring that up. But we do have a cancel button. We have trailing. You can trail by turning trailing on. You can trail after target 1 gets hit, or you could trail after target 2 gets hit. A lot of traders like to trail, or you could not trail at all. It's off. You can also move your stop if a target gets hit. So we have a feature. We use it all the time in the room. Target 1, stop, move. Target 1, stop, move. It means exactly what it sounds like. If target 1 is hit, move your stop here. Normally, the way I was taught to trade, if target 1 gets hit, move your stop to break even. Or move your stop to safety, is what I say in the room. Safety could be, let's say you have a 2-position trade, right? 1 contract for position 1, 1 contract for position 2. Target 1 is 20 ticks. Target 2 is 50 ticks. And right now, your stop is 50 ticks. Label your trade. I label every trade. So that's a MGC reverse continue. All right. 2 positions. Apply it. Okay it. Turn it on. All right. Now, when I enter the trade by pressing one of the buttons, it gives me both orders and my stop. If the price goes up and it allows me to move my stop to safety, I can do that manually. But I can also have the stop move automatically if it hits the first target. That's if I would have put target 1 stop move, BE for break even, or BE plus 5 for break even plus 5, or BE minus 4 ticks before it gets to break even. That's a very powerful feature that lets you protect profit if your first target gets hit in a trade. Almost every one of our setups uses that feature. Almost every one of our setups has that input, okay? So look, these inputs aren't so scary anymore, right? Because they make sense. You can hover over them for a description of the input. If you just hover the mouse, it'll give you a description of the input, okay? So now I tell everybody, put a reverse continue on every chart. One very important thing to know about NinjaTrader, when you have a strategy or indicator adjustment screen on, you can't do anything else until you close that screen. Also, you will not be able to edit the inputs if a strategy is enabled. Make sure the enabled box is not checked, or you can't make adjustments, okay? A lot of times when you're new, you forget that and you go, oh my, I can't change the strategy. Something's wrong. You just have to remember you cannot have a strategy enabled and change the settings. Although what's really cool about the magnet, we can change settings while the magnet's enabled. And that's the new magnet control panel is phenomenal. And I love our programmer. As much as me and him do battle, he's a brilliant programmer. And he really came up with a great control panel. So don't panic. Don't worry. Don't think there's too much to adjust. Most of them we don't use. And the ones that you do use, you will come to know which ones they are after spending a little bit of time in the trade room with us. That's why when people sign up with us, the trade room is almost always included. All our education takes place in the trade room, okay? So reverse continue, very important setup. It goes on every chart. When you turn it on, it gives you the ability to enter that instrument anytime you want. Now, the new Magnet 2.0, right-click the chart, click Strategies, double-click Magnet 2.0. The default when Magnet 2.0 comes up is Magnet Trade Enabled equals off. Here's the beauty of magnets. Off equals on. And I always laugh about this. Off doesn't mean the magnets are all turned off. It just means the high of day, low of day orders are off. Let me show you what I mean. Most of the time, or a lot of the times that we trade a magnet, right? We're trading magnets for high of day, low of day. Why? Because they are, in my opinion, they're my favorite magnets. Now, there's always going to be traders out there that do better with R1 or maybe with Fibonacci's because our software allows custom levels. And we'll get into that over the course of the challenge. You can have custom levels. Custom level means any value on any chart can be a magnet. Exit, right? Remember, magnets are exits. Every chart has magnets. Every instrument that you like to trade has magnets. You like trading the ES? Let's put the ES on. Everybody loves trading the ES, right? Everybody learned to trading the mini S&P. Why would the mini S&P not have magnets? Why would gold not have magnets? Why would copper not have magnets? The beauty of what we do now at 10-minute trades is every chart that you like to trade qualifies to be a magnet trading chart. Every chart. Everything you like to do fits what we do. If you want to trade Bitcoin futures, there's going to be magnets because high of day, low of day shows up on every chart. PP, every chart. previous market open, every chart, VWAP, every chart. These are our magnets. These are the areas we target. So finally, we're going to get to James's question. We're going to put a darn magnet on a chart. Double click magnet 2.0. When it's off, it just means high of day, low of day orders don't show up. But the first thing I normally do in most rooms, when I come into the room and look at a chart, I'm looking for the high of day, low of day. So I change my chart from off to high of day, low of day. Proximity is 3, and we're not going to even worry about proximity anymore. In the old days, and I'm only going to say this once, when we designed the magnet trade, the proximity was the way that we showed the software where our entry was. But as I said before, and as I'm reminding everyone now, the proximity doesn't matter anymore because we can move our magnet orders. And that's the beauty, one of the beauties of the software. So the proximity default, all it means is it's putting the orders this close to the actual magnet. So watch what happens when proximity is 3. And I do nothing else. Just enable a magnet trade. Proximity is 3. High of day, low of day. I'm going to move my clock out of the way. Here's my order. Watch what happens if I make that a 10. And it's why this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it is. You're going to move your orders anyway. So don't lose any sleep about it. Don't worry about how it's calculated. See, if it's a 10, it's just further away. I'm going to move it anyway in most cases. Maybe there's market structure. I want to be above, right? Maybe there's market structure. I want to be below. Maybe, you get it? I can move my orders. So, the proximity doesn't matter. To get your signals, James, all you have to do is turn on the software, enable the magnet. The default is high of day, low of day, and VWAP signals. And that's controlled with these inputs here. Right-click the strategy, highlight the strategy, scroll down to ARS, aftershock reversal. High of day signals is checked, VWAP signals is checked. If you don't want to see VWAP signals, you could just check your high of day, low of day. If you don't want to see signals, you can turn that off. All right. I like usually to watch both sets of signals. You want to change the color of our arrows? No problem. Easy to do. All right. Change the arrow color. No problem. Now when you turn on the magnet, different color signals if that's what you like. Okay? So, very, very simple to generate signals. Now, we wanted the magnet strategy to be a full-blown trading system. I did not want to force people that wanted to trade with us but only wanted to be magnet traders. We didn't want to force them to have to buy all our other strategies if they didn't want to. I'm a very reasonable person. And one of our members had the brilliant idea, put the reverse continue strategy inside the magnet software. I thought that was brilliant. So we added reverse continues to inside the magnet software. So check this out. Editing the magnet strategy, the inputs, right? So Let's say we're trading the high of day, low of day. Why? Look at the ES chart. We're in the middle of the high of day, low of day. So if you're just watching charts, you're not really here for any purpose of trading. There's no news. You just want to practice. You could set up magnet high of day, low of day trade. But like I said, so you manage the trade with the trade setup right below here, okay? And let me show you what I mean. Remember, the percent proximity default is a 3. Custom level, we're ignoring that right now. That's if you want to enter in your own value. If you're a Fibonacci trader and you want to enter in your own fibs, you can type in a custom level, and that becomes your magnet. And we'll get more into that tomorrow, all right? Our setup for the trade, the default magnet trade setup is 1 position, 3 ticks before it reaches the magnet. So, remembering what our magnet trade was this morning on the YM, right? Which is real easy to understand. Our magnet trade on the YM, the exit is the green line. It's 3 ticks before it gets there. That's our exit. Why? I believe that it's a valid test of a level if you get as close as 3 ticks. But that's also adjustable. You could make it any number of ticks as you want. All right, that's adjustable in the aftershock reversal area under proximity ticks. If you think a test of a magnet level is 2 ticks away from the level, good for you. Make it a 2. All right? That's up to you. But default, because I'm a know-it-all, is 3 ticks, -3, because it's going to take you out of the trade 3 ticks before it gets there. If you want to get out of the trade 10 ticks after it goes through the magnet, make the target 1 a 10. And the magnet trade can trade 2 positions. It's a 2-position trade, all right? If you use the setup inside the magnet, which you would do particularly if you're trading high of day, low of day, okay? So our trade is 1 position, 1 contract, exit 3 ticks before you get to the magnet, and the stop is whatever you want it to be, whatever you type in. Default is 20. In these markets, we probably should have made the default bigger, all right? Maybe I will. That's a full-blown magnet setup. I don't have to do anything else except scroll down, make sure on your magnet that momentum length is 17 on the indicator and squeeze length is 20. It will be unless you change it. Don't change it if you're trading magnets. If you're a lifetime Ninja Trader subscriber, then you have order flow VWAP as your VWAP. If you're not, then use VWAP 10MT. That installs with your template, and that's your VWAP. They are exactly the same in calculating, okay? But we include a VWAP because it's a most important level. It's a very important magnet. It's included for everybody. So no one can say, I don't have the VWAP. It's part of the template. All right? Remember, I'm not changing hardly anything here because today I'm going to just go over the simple stuff. I already showed you could turn your signals on and off if you don't want to watch them. All right? You don't need signals to trade magnets. You can change the colors. All right? But we installed into the magnet software a full-blown reverse continuation setup. Yes, it has a whole bunch of inputs. You can trail. You can use target one-stop move like I just showed you before. But all you ever need for reverse continuation is position 1 equals a 1, a stop, and a target. My stop is 50. My target is 50. All right. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I choose my account. I'm on SIM. I label my magnet ES because that's the chart I'm on, right? Apply it. Okay it. Make sure that my chart trader is on SIM because that's the account I'm trading. If I turn on my ES magnet, I get my control panel. I get my high of day, low of day, initial location for orders. If you hover over the magnet entry button, it shows you your orders. My long entry buy is 82.75. If I want to make this automatic, press the magnet entry button. And if we get to this area, it'll pull me in the trade. All right. Now, if I move the orders, it shows up in the box. My sell, 22.50. 20.75. All right. I always have Financial Juice Pro open. So if I see bursts in the market and it's been caused by news that's being reported, I will know it. Okay? That's why I do love Financial Juice. Now, we did get some VWAP signals. See what I mean when I said VWAP signals? You can get a lot of them. It's because if you're consolidating, you might not want to be taking signals. However, I don't know when these signals were generated. If the signal was generated in the middle of this candle, like right here, price went down to here, there would have been 18 ticks of profit before the market changed direction. That was not a very big signal. This one might have been a little better, but understanding the signals is very important. You don't just jump into a signal randomly, okay? When you understand how they're created, you'll understand why sometimes there might be more signals than you want. When we're consolidating around the VWAP and you have VWAP signals on, you'll get extra signals. All right? Signals are created. It's not 100% by this, but it's very strongly these concepts. Momentum bars, when they change direction, that's a motivation for a new signal. When candles change direction, that's the motivation for a new signal. When the level we're looking at testing, when the level such as the VWAP is our magnet, when it gets tested and then direction changes, that can create a signal. Okay? So, changes in squeeze momentum, which means a change in color, testing of the level that we think is the magnet, those are very strong signal generators. Okay? Like I said, there's a lot of internal calculations we're doing also, but those are a significant part of what generates a signal. So that's important to understand. Remember what I did. I created a reverse continue inside our magnet software. Okay. Now, hang on, let me get rid of something. Inside our magnet software, I created a reverse continue. Right-click strategy. Let me get rid of this, which was not a working strategy at the moment. ES magnet. Remember, we started with a high of day, low of day. Position 1 is a 1 contract trade. Exit 3 ticks before we get to the magnet. We have a 50 tick stop. That's big for the ES. Probably use 25, 30. It's $12.50 a tick. You could trade micros. Certainly practice with micros. Always label the trade. Why? Apply it, okay it. When you look at the strategy, it's labeled. If I put another strategy on, a breakout trade, by double-clicking News Trader, maybe I have a 2 o'clock, 2:30 breakout I want to trade at 1400 hours, right? I apply that trade, but I want it labeled also. Maybe that's the FOMC is doing something, right? So my label is FOMC. Apply it, okay it. Now, when you look inside the News Trader, first off, I know which trade I might want to turn on or off. I might want to cancel a trade. I cancel a trade by unchecking the checkbox, okay? I turn on a trade by checking the checkbox. So I could have a breakout waiting to trade. I have a magnet waiting to trade. And I can even put a reverse continue on the chart. Notice I can adjust my orders. Okay? Any questions? Everybody understanding everything? This is going very long, folks. I'm going to stop at 2 hours. All right? That's only a few more minutes. This is a lot of data to follow. But I think it's all been pretty useful. So inside our magnet, we've got a reverse continue long and a reverse continue short. If I want to take the short, according to the setup inside, I just press reverse continue short. Sometimes I prefer having the magnet by itself and the reverse continue as an extra strategy. I just find it easier to control everything that way. And if I don't want to have a magnet on a chart for whatever reason, I still have my scalp setup ready to go. But these days, almost always, I have the magnet on because I want to trade signals. But I do like trading my signals from an external extra reverse continue. You can also trade signals from inside the magnet, just like we can control the reverse continue inside the magnet strategy. When I say inside, I mean when you click strategy and then look at the inputs for the magnet strategy. That's what I mean by inside, with the available inputs. So remember, we have multiple systems inside the magnet trade, inside the strategy. We've got high of day, low of day. That's a complete trading system all by itself. High of day, low of day is a complete trading system just based around high of day, low of day. It also can trigger VWAP signals because our aftershock system can have it checked, VWAP signals. If you really just want to look at everything related to only high of day, low of day, just uncheck your VWAP signals. You'll still, of course, get your magnets. I can control my signal trades from inside the magnet strategy. All right? And there's a reason where you might want to do it. 90% of the time, you can do the bulk of your trading with the external reverse continue. When I say external, I mean right-click the chart, click on strategy, click news trader, click breakout to a reverse continue, and now let's say I'm going to put an ES strategy on my chart, 2 contracts, 1 position, 20 tick target, 25 tick stop, scroll down, labeled the trade, right? ES reverse continue, choose the account, SIM, apply it, okay it. I now have an ES reverse continue, turn it on. Now I have my buttons. Make sure your chart trader is on SIM. I could take a short right now if I think the market's going short. All right. If I think my stop's too small and I want to use market structure for my stop, like above a wick, I just move my stop. Okay. I could use market structure for a target. Get me out of this trade before the previous open. That's what that orange line was. Get me out of the trade before you get to the PP. All right. Trade management with our software and NinjaTrader is great. Okay. But I like trading the magnet with external reverse continue. I can do 90% of all my trading with the reverse continue. I can trade signals. If I should get a VWAP signal, right? Now remember, I turned them off. So if I want to turn them back on, highlight the ES magnet trade and turn those VWAP signals back on. I thought I turned them off, didn't I? Yeah. No, I did leave it on. All right, it's on. Turn the magnet back on, and we'll start to get our signals. Now, remember I said when you start the magnet, it starts high of day. If you start it in high of day, low of day, off equals on. Off still generates signals. What off does, you can see if you change high of day, low of day on the control panel, turn that off. Choose off, and your orders disappear. It'll just show you the VWAP and the high of day, low of day signals as part of the ARS signal system. Okay? The control panel, its main purpose is targeting and trade management, but mostly its purpose is targeting. If you're watching the market and you're off, and all of a sudden the market starts exploding down to the low of the day, you could change your trade. Now, assuming you're not in it, you could even be in a trade, right? You could be in a trade and you could change your targeting. But normally you want to target when you're not in a trade, right? Maybe I start out by thinking, well, I'm going to trade high of day, low of day. So turn on high of day, low of day. Set your orders. And then you decide, wait a minute, the price is going to the PP. I want to target the PP. Click manual entry, target ticks, change it to the PP. Now, take your order line, bring it down to before it gets to the PP. Why above the PP? Because if we get to the PP, we're getting there from above the PP. So you don't want to do that. That's not targeting the PP. That's targeting the PP. That's how easy it is to change your target. If I want to go back to high of day, low of day, bingo, I'm back to high of day, low of day. If I want to make it an automatic trade, bingo. Press the magnet entry button, and when we get to the heavy order line and it breaks it, pierces it, we'll be pulled into the market. All right, folks, let me do a couple of quick things. Any questions? We've been here for 2 hours. I think that's a lot for one day. All right. We've got a 3-day setup going on here. And if there's no questions, I want to make sure that anybody who's not a regular member, you should have received an email, or you will receive tomorrow morning a way to get into the trade room for the rest of the week. So let me post that. Anybody that's here can come to the trade room for the rest of the week and join us in the trade room. All right? That's just part of the fun of being in the magnet class. So let me post the way you get into the trade room. I'm sure there's a few of you who are not members and didn't know because you signed up after I sent the email. So here's all the data, and let me explain it. The main URL to get in is the short one. For some people, that 10MT Pro gives an error. You get a password error. If you get a password error, try a different browser and the longer URL, the other trade room lobby URL. That usually solves any password errors you might have. Okay? Sander, you're very welcome. Anybody else have any other questions? Tomorrow, we'll do what we did today. We'll go through slides. We'll triple check that we covered everything. Let me check and make sure I covered everything I wanted to cover today. That's vital. We did calendars, back up your Ninja, setting up your charts, okay? Prop trading, Bullinox, okay? All that stuff. Everybody's got it. Okay, so there's nothing extra. I don't think I forgot anything today. All right. So let me check one more slide. If you need help, just send an email, help@10minutetrades.com. All right. I get back to all our emails. I'm really good about email. I love helping. I really enjoy this. And, I want to thank everybody for coming today. We had a great turnout. And I hope you'll be here tomorrow because we're going to get into the really good stuff. Targeting, controlling your trades with all the buttons. All right. So James, our trade room opens when the schedule says it's open. Now, we leave it open all week so people can meet there. Okay? People can meet there. Roz, I'll see you tomorrow. But you know when the room is open if you get our schedule. Okay? How do you get our schedule? Anybody that wants our free schedule, go to, I'll type this in for you, and I'll tell you what to do to get on the email list for our free schedule. So type in www.10minutetrades.com, and Opt in for the free video, how to find your own 10-minute trades, and we'll send it to you. Okay? But our schedule, Trade Room opens, that's when we'll be in the room trading. So that's Eastern time, all right? Because I'm in Pennsylvania. That'll be Eastern time. We're not in the room when our, look, if we have an 8:30 setup, we might be in the room for 2 hours. It's possible. There might be a lot going on. And with these war markets, we've been spending extra time in the room reading signals. And we're going to have plenty of signal trading days going forward because this is a whole new thing for us. And I want to teach people how to use the signals to the best of their ability. All right? The signals are awesome. And if you know how to manage them, they'll be even better. Okay. And we'll talk about a lot of that tomorrow. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for spending the time. And I'll see everybody tomorrow at noon. So have a good rest of your day. See y'all.